Smiling all day, very good. Happy face, that's what we like to see. Good afternoon. The topic for my seminar today is to explore some elements of internal skills. Okay. The trend in my seminar is that whatever this seminar is today is a follow-on from the seminar previous year. So in the previous seminar that I gave last year, I touched on several elements of that internal skill set. In the Chu Shong Tin Wing Chun lineage that I belong to, we consider that our Wing Chun is internal. So what makes an internal martial art different from an external martial art? If you do some research, which I did, and look across multiple internal martial arts and listen to various people talking about their internal martial art, you get a variety of answers. So different people think this is internal and that's external, and somebody else said, no, that is internal and this is external. So I can only speak on behalf of my understanding of the Chu Shong Tin Wing Chun internal system. In our internal system, there are, in my view, 5 internal skills you need to learn in order to be able to do things internally, what we call internally. So what is internally? Internally means that inside. So you start off external, and then you make the movements, whatever it is, and then eventually, gradually, you internalize the movement so that everything moves from the center, and the force comes from the center, wherever the center is. Now, I know that different ideas, again, of where the center is. Some people say the center of gravity. Other people say that it's the center of the spine. And if you ask Qigong that, he'll say yes to both. So the center is where you place your mind in your body. Or if you can't understand what placing your mind is, it's a bit like paying attention to the area in your body. That's the nearest I can. So wherever your attention goes, or the yi, in Chinese we call it the yi, wherever the yi goes, that is where the power will be. That's where the movement will begin. So externally, i.e. in your hands there should be very little power. Everything comes from inside. Last year, I discussed the skills of yi, subconscious, and sung. If you're not here last year and you're not aware of what the yi, subconscious, and sung is all about, there are several videos that I didn't produce, somebody else produced for me, put on the net. I did some seminars and somebody video and put on YouTube. So it's on YouTube. If you Google Mark Ho Yi Sig, it's all there. So I don't propose to go through because it's a long-winded sort of a story. What I want to do today is to carry on from last year's seminar where I finished with Sung. Today, what I want to go through and explore, if you like, the next couple of internal skills, which I don't normally actually touch on. The first of those is the use of fascia. And the second of those is the use of qi. Now, qi is a very contentious thing. You ask 10 people, you get 11 answers what the qi is all about, okay? So it's my version of qi. Yeah. Qi actually is tied in with the fascia. That's why I want to do them together. But let's go back to why are these internal skills the way they are? Why was this created in the first place? How did, in ancient China, our predecessors, those masters before us, came to the conclusion that you need this set of skills? About when Grandmaster Chu Shong Tin passed away, back in 2014, I began to ask myself one question. Is there any scientific basis for what I learned from Chu Shong Tin? Because Chu Shong Tin taught in the very traditional Kung Fu way. You stand there, you relax, he come and adjust you until you really relax. Then you move. You don't move until you relax. The principle being that it's no point moving when you can't even stand properly. So that standing practice, we call that standing practice, develops this quality of sung, or this skill of sung in your body. And when you're truly sung, then you move. And that movement, the first movement, is called Nim Tao. So you do standing practice, develop this sung quality of skill in you, and then you use the sung quality to move in Nim Tao form. So actually, Nim Tao form doesn't create sung. Standing practice creates sung. Nim Tao form is the practice of that sung. You learn to move, because those of you who have done standing practice will know what I mean when I say you stand there and you relax and think, oh, Jesus, I've got this. I'm really sung. And then you put out hand and everything disappeared because you moved. You're not sung again. So you go back here and you start to move again, and the moment you move an inch, the sung disappeared. So you got to stay down. You stay there and you wait until the sung comes back, and you move another inch and the sung disappeared. And that's why the Nim Tao form is done slowly. So the slowness is not to deliberately make it slow. The slowness comes from the fact of doing Nim Tao properly with sung. So that's all bring us from last year now into here. So why do we have sung? And what's the relationship between sung and fascia? The thing is that, and for that answer, we need to go look at the human anatomy. How the human body generate movement, and from the movement then generate power. Because I found out that the science is actually in the anatomy. If you look at how the anatomy is created, you get a better understanding of why certain movements have to be done a certain way. Why you need to be done with sung rather than with muscular force. But there's nothing wrong with muscular force. That is the normal way of moving. We all do that. We move with muscle. Because if you look at the human body, essentially it is a framework, a skeletal framework of bones suspended by connective tissue. And that's why in some internal arts they talk about lifting, hanging like that. To me, that's a misunderstanding of the human anatomy. You don't lift it. Because you lift it, actually, you think you're lifting it, but actually you're doing this. You're tensing your neck muscles to pull the skeleton up. Well, that's the opposite of sung, isn't it? Sung is to let the muscle naturally relax, but not relax to the point where it's floppy. That is not sung. That's relaxation when you sleep and all that. Even when you sleep, your organs are suspended in space and time. Otherwise, your organs collapse. So sung is a little bit more of that. The best way I can describe your muscle when you're sung is that there's a tone to it. It's neither contracting nor flaccid. And the reason you have that tone is you need to maintain the shape of the human body, because the fascia is all over the body. It wraps around the shell of the body. It's in every muscle surrounding every muscle fiber. Therefore, it's in the muscle body itself. It surrounds the muscle. It connects to all the organs and all your bones and everything. And now you begin to understand why you need to talk about fascia, because it is the stuff that connects the whole body. And instinctively, even if you're not a scientist or an engineer, you know that to move something with just a part of your body, just the arm, it's inherently much more difficult and stressful than if you move with the whole body behind it. So if you want to continue using muscle, for instance, and to generate power, you can do that as well. A lot of martial arts use that and very effectively. So Sung by itself cannot definitively say that your martial art is internal, because a lot of external martial arts are also very relaxed. I know that because I used to do an external martial art, a Chinese martial art, descendant from Shaolin. And we talk about Sung as well, relax. But it's a different type of Sung. But most of the action predominantly is done by muscle pulling on bones. So that's how a normal muscle-driven system works, operating system works. Muscle pulling on the bone, because all movement in the human body is rotation around a joint or a group of joints. So in order for movement to happen, the muscle pull on the bone attached to the joint, and it moves it in a horizontal. Because of that joint, it makes a rotation. You can improve on the muscle by increasing the size of the muscle, which I used to try to do. Press up, lift weights, jumping jack, everything, all the stuff, build muscle. So I started training when I was 127 pounds. And I found that when I do sparring, I was being knocked all over the place by the heavier guys. Most of them were 160, 180 pounds. I was 127 pounds. No match for them. So protein, build it up to 147 pounds, better. But still, because inherently, I was not as big as people who are born naturally big, you know. I can't challenge that. So you can build muscles. The problem with building muscle is that along with the size of the muscle comes weight. So in other words, you've got to move more weight on your body. And that's fine, the muscle will move the weight, but you consume a lot of energy because of the metabolic nature of muscle. So that may not be the right answer if you want to be more effortless in your movement. The other problem with improving the muscle is that the way the human body is designed by God or by whatever nature, the muscle pull on the bones in what I call a third-class lever operating system. Anybody don't understand what a third-class lever is? Okay. Basically, a lever is just a rigid member. Right? You know what a wheelbarrow is? A wheelbarrow, okay. A wheelbarrow is a second-class lever. That means the fulcrum is there, the load is in the middle, the lifting force is at the other end. So you get mechanical advantage because the load is closer to the fulcrum. You got a long lever arm, you can lift it, that's why you can move the wheelbarrow easily. If you swap the load to where the handle is, and then you try and lift up the wheelbarrow from the middle, that's a third-class lever. You try doing that, your back is going to break. Because the problem with a third-class lever operating system is that it's mechanically disadvantageous. So it works against you. Therefore, if you want a more efficient martial art, you need to think of not improving the current operating system, you change the operating system to using a different operating system. You want to change to an operating system that utilizes the whole body. So what's this stuff that utilizes the whole body? Fascia, very good. Good thinking. That's why fascia came to become part of the internal landscape. Okay, now what about this qi then? What the hell is qi then? Any volunteers? Everybody knows what qi is, isn't it?
It means energy.
Sorry?
It means energy? What is qi?
What is energy?
Well, I know, but then
Okay, I understand what you're saying, yeah. It is energy, but it is not energy in the normal sense that people think of energy. You know, like G plus, and it knock out the guy. Oh, that it works. It worked. It worked. Brilliant. Yeah. I'll pay you afterwards, that's that. No, it's not the energy that actually sort of moves things by itself. That's why if you take qi by itself, it's actually quite weak. And in fact, it's very difficult to find qi. It's so weak that you don't notice it. So it's not that type of qi. The qi we're talking about is the electrical signaling type of qi, energy. So it's an information transformation process.
Does that move around the whole body?
What is surrounding the whole body?
The qi.
No. What?
Just as fascia.
Teach him. What is this thing that surrounds the whole body?
Everything's there.
Fascia. Good, thank you. So it's fascia. So qi is the signals that manipulates the fascia. So actually, when you talk about qi, fascia is the physical side of qi. You send signals through the fascia because of the composition, the ingredient that's in the fascia tissue. It's basically collagen with a bit of fibroblast and elastin. There's also something called the interstitial fluid in between the layers. Anybody heard about non-Newtonian fluids? Come on, engineers. Custard, yeah, very good. Anybody saw this video on, well, many videos on YouTube where people fill a tub of this liquid and then they run across it without sinking down? Black magic. No, it's not, it's physics. It's called non-Newtonian fluid. And the non-Newtonian fluid basically is a viscous fluid. If you have enough viscosity in the fluid, because what viscous fluid do is that when you apply an energy to the fluid, you compress the fluid and it becomes solid. So the way to run across the viscous fluid is the moment you stop, you're sinking into it because there's no more energy in it. So when you apply energy to a viscous fluid, it becomes solid or gradually becomes solid. The interstitial fluid within fascia is a non-Newtonian fluid. And that's why when you send electrical energy through it, you can influence the state of that fascia. So fascia can be very soft one moment, almost like empty. It can then become viscous again, or it become very elastic, and then finally become solid, depending on what energy you put into the fluid. So both the fluid, the sort of fascia composition and the neural signals energy that you put into it will influence it. And that is the classic definition of Sung. Because Sung is not a single entity, as those people who practice Sung will find out. Sung can be elastic, can be very difficult, like wading through mud, and it can become very solid, depending on the energy you put into the information network. So fascia and qi together form the next set of internal skills. So how does the internal skills work then? By themselves, yeah, it's great. You have fascia. But how do you then apply that fascia to make it powerful, to move things? you need a physical side of internal art, which is you need a set of physical principles that will move your body mechanically. And within that movement, you apply these internal skills into the movement, and together with an expression of a power principle, the whole thing combined together then becomes power. And when it becomes power, it can transform into the final internal skill, which is internal jin, or king in Cantonese, for those people who speak Cantonese. So the integration of all these internal skills eventually end up in this integration as jin. Now, every martial art has their own definition of jin, this special power. Chu Shong Tin called it Nim Lik. And each type of jin is slightly different, depending on your approach to it. That's why you get all this controversy about what is internal force. Is whatever your grandmaster say it is. It's very simple. So it's easy to say fascia, but how do you make fascia work? The thing with fascia is that it surrounds the whole body, and it can transmit force because it's a viscous fluid inside there as well. So if you influence the viscous fluid inside, you can make it very hydraulic, for instance. Hydraulic is just fluid moving, compressed fluid. So that would be one method. You somehow manage to compress the fascia. The only trouble is that if you use muscle and you tense the muscle, it crumbles the fascia. And when the fascia is crumbled, it no longer transmits force. In the internal martial art, we call it being stuck. In us, it's a blockage. So when you try to apply this fascia by increasing the amount of fascia you use, you find that the flow of this energy is now blocked. So you loosen the joints and everything, and the flow happens again. The trouble is when you become sung too much, you lose the engagement of the fascia. So you lose the power as well. So tensing causes blockages. Too soon, you leak all over the place. So how do you go about setting somebody up? Let's say you want to teach somebody how to use the fascia. How do you go about setting him up? Remember what I said earlier? The fascia is also attached to everything, including the bones. So the first step in the training process is that you need to be able to feel the bones. Because if you cannot feel the bones, you can't feel the fascia either. Because that's the first step. Can I borrow you? Great. I use Craig because he's trained with me for a number of years, so it's easier to set him up. Just hold, yeah. Just feel the bones in there. Take up the side. Okay, don't do that yet. So if, let's say he's using muscle, for instance. Yeah. So before setup, so now I'm going to tear him apart. No problem. Why? Because I'm using tremendous leverage against him. Now I'm going to get him set up. Feel the bones in there. Yeah, take out the side. Connect to the spine. Now I can feel the connection there. Anybody sees any strain in his face? The strain was all on my side because I was trying to use muscle to tear him apart again. Couldn't do it. And that is the first step in tapping into this fascia process. And if you want them to develop power from that, so set up again. Take out that. Bit more. Ah, okay, good. So now, no force here. Step towards me. Step towards me. Again. No. Pull a bit. Yeah, that's. Now notice, I can feel him being set up, and he can feel himself being set up as well. When the fascia connect, you can feel it. Thanks, Claire. Now you got an introduction to the internal world because you can feel it. Because one of the problems with learning how to use the fascia is that a lot of times you cannot feel it, not with the normal sort of nervous system. Why? Because your fascia is actually controlled by the subconscious. Now you begin to realize why one of the internal skills is the subconscious. Because without the subconscious, you cannot normally feel the fascia. And if you cannot feel the fascia, and you have no awareness of the fascia, you cannot influence it. But if you can learn to feel the bones, and you learn how to move the bones, because the bones give you the most precise information of where every part of your body in time and space. Why? Because your muscles and your brain lie constantly to you. You think your brain belongs to you. No, your brain lies to you. Your muscles lie to you. You think that your arm is like that. It's not. It's the image, the information image that your brain gives to you, because the muscle confuse the information. In order to hold your hand like that in muscle, there are like, 20, 30 muscles all acting together, pulling in different directions. Don't forget your brain lives in the dark shell inside the skull. It doesn't see the world. It feels the world through your muscles. So all it feels is, here got force pulling here, that got force pulling, that force. I'll just guess where it is. But when you can feel the bones, there's no guesswork, because to feel the bones, you got to let go of the muscles. So that information, that noise from the muscle now disappears. You get the true information of where you are in time and space. Can I borrow you, Lucas? I choose Lucas because I found out how old he was. He's 50 years younger than me. So, for a start, I can safely say that I'm no match for him physically. Okay? So before I start, he also trains in mixed martial art and grappling. So he knows how to move. He knows how to generate power using muscle. So I'm going to try and move him around a bit, okay? So I'm going to grab hold of him, like in a grapple there. Okay, so I'm going to try and move him now. You got to give me a chance. No, no chance at all. And the reason for that is that my muscles are lying to me. My brain is lying to me. It's telling me all sorts of information. It's distracting me at all. So feel the difference now when I quieten everything down and I go into my subconscious and I feel my fascia. I pay him a lot of money to move. So let's say, for example, now, you're going to do your mixed martial art thingy. Oh, yes, very good. Ready? Yeah. Okay, good. What do you feel in my arms?
It's interesting. Like there is the force is coming around me, and I have no platform to push.
Yeah, but did you feel a lot of force in my hand?
No, not really. It comes
So where was my force coming from then?
Like from your body or something like that.
Yeah, good.
It felt like one connected unit.
Yeah, very well said. I'll pay you afterwards. Thank you. Thanks very much. So just to illustrate that, thanks so much. Yeah. It's a very simple way to prove whether fascia works or doesn't work. That's not to say that it makes you Superman. No, it doesn't. But it overcomes the disadvantage. When you're weaker, when the other person is physically superior to you. He could also be physically superior, not only in the muscular sense, but also in skill sense. He may be very well trained. I don't want to use Lucas because in terms of experience level, there's quite a big margin between us. So I have many more years of experience than him. So he is very experienced. He does a lot of martial arts for many, many years. So, and he's also bigger than me, younger than me. So now I have a problem. He's got skill set as well. And he's bigger, heavier than me. I'm going to have a problem with him if I just use fascia. So we do the same thing as I did with Lucas, where you grab hold of me, that's it, you grab me, and I'm going to try and move you, and you stop me. Okay. Oh yes, you see, different because he's got skills now. He knows, he's done many years of training, so it's going to be difficult to move me. So fascia alone by itself is not enough now. I could do something with the fascia, and that something is called pulling the fascia. So instead of pushing him, and instead of just using fascia in the pushing fascia, I'm going to take his force into my force by pulling his force into me. Now that's strange, isn't it? Don't you think? I voluntarily allow somebody to enter my body with his force because I deliberately pull his force into my body. And yet, he ended up going in the opposite direction. Engineers, why is that?
Bounce? Bounce? Elasticity?
Yeah, but why does it bounce? I'm talking about science now, you see. Yeah.
Material itself has
I can prove the actual action, but we're now trying to find the science behind it. It's very simple. It's Newton's third law of motion. For every action, that's equal and opposite reaction. So if I use the action direct him, because of his skill level, I cannot get around him. See, he's too skilled. You see, already he got me out the Chow there, see. That's a classic way of controlling somebody. So if I now fight that, it's manipulating me now. So if I try to push him there, he can sense everything because he's used to it. Everybody does that to him. So I'm going to do something that is abnormal to him. Instead of putting the force there, I take his force and put it in my body. And Professor Newton did it all for me. I didn't have to do much. Newton did it all for me.
So is it that the fascia bounces? The material itself is bouncing?
No, the fascia pulls his force into me
How does the fascia pull force?
because it transmits force. I allow him to put his force into me.
Absorbs it?
Sorry?
Absorbs it?
Yes, yes. Very good.
But then
So there's a little bit of potential energy there. So when I allow his force to come into it, that increases the potential energy as well.
And then what moves him? Chi?
Sorry?
What moves Mike when you move him?
Newton's third law of motion.
But what moves
Yeah.
him?
The way to illustrate this is that, can I borrow you here? I can do one or two things. I can try and push him away. I can move him, but it's difficult. Or I can push the wall behind me. Notice the difference? And that's what I did. I make myself the wall by connecting myself to the floor. So if you think of the floor as a wall like that, and I push against that, and he bounces back. So the bouncing is correct, But the bouncing is the effect, not the cause. The cause is Newton's third law. So that's the science behind it. And that's why, again, why you need fascia, because the fascia is also connected to your foot. Which brings me to this idea about the center, where the center is. So now we go back to, so now we've established that you can get around somebody with better skills than you. So if I push him with my center of gravity against the center of gravity, this is what happens. Because he's very good. He knows how to deal with me, center of gravity. If I now place my center of gravity in my foot, so to make that like the wall, so now he pushes me, it goes backwards. So that's the center of gravity there, or it's the center rather, because it's no longer center of gravity. The other thing is that, push against me, when we're tussling like that together, at some point, the two masses in our body merges. About now. Can you feel the effect on him? You see the effect on him? About now. So somewhere between us, our two centers have now merged. If I'm aware of it and he's not, he's in trouble. If he's aware of it, now it better so push here. Can't move him anymore. See? Because he's doing the same thing as me. So now I've got to shift my center again. So in other words, thanks a lot. Thank you. In other words, the way you establish where your center is has a tremendous effect. So this is the other bits, the physical bit. These are all physical stuff. When you apply Sung and fascia into these physical, mechanical principles, you now have internal power. So that's my understanding of internal power. It's not that some magic, black magic energy ball. It's basically utilizing very clear mechanical principles and then apply internal skills to those principles. And by doing so, you then make everything becomes internal power. Does that sort of make sense? Okay, so I've done a lot of talking. Maybe it'd be best if I asked you now, at this stage, before we go, have you any good questions? Is it an idiot talking nonsense, or does it make some sense, or something is unclear? Oh, okay.
I always get in trouble with asking questions.
No, don't worry.
I've got a question about...
Sorry.
When you're saying you're going to focus on the bones, for instance, in your arm, is it important to think of every bone in your body that is connected to the floor or the person, and to use
Every bone in your body, including your skull. A lot of people forget the body. They think that the body ends here. They forget about here. How about you from here? Just to illustrate a point. So just now, what I did was to grab on me. Yeah. Again, this is a physical thing. Yes, very good, very good. So just now we're talking, basically, I forgot mentioning about the top of the skull there. That has a bearing because that is part of the skeletal structure. But what you do not want to do is to try and mechanically move him just by itself. See, I'm using the whole structure. But if I now connect to the fascia, connecting the fascia by itself, if I'm stiff, still won't move him. So now I remember this part of my body now. So it's not like pulling myself up, it's relaxing it, connect to the fascia. So just moving the head along can do a lot of things. Now, if I now connect the head to the rest of my body, In fact, if you watch very carefully, you can see the fascia connecting in my body. At no point was I pushing against the floor. I'm just standing on the floor. So far, all I'm doing is moving him with this connectivity in my fascia. So if I want to apply more power, how do I go about it? Now you got the other elements of power. How do you generate more power apart from muscular power? You can use momentum, for instance. It's also a physical law, momentum. So now what I want to do is connect him to my fascia, and then I move. No power here, is it?
Yeah.
All I do is just step.
Basically lifting me right through here.
Now, why does that work when I step? Obviously, I'm doing something correctly in the stepping process. Now watch when I don't do it correctly. Classic. You see in the movies. Doesn't work, actually. Because I've distorted my body, and as a result of that distortion, I've also distorted my fascia. Now feel the difference when I reconnect to my center. I'm not even pushing down, I'm just sort of stepping. So the difference is that when a normal person moves, the first thing he does is to shift his weight to one side so that the other side can move. So in order to apply the fascia properly into this mechanical movement, you need to make sure that your movement is from the center. So in other words, when you move, you're not in the center anymore. You move like that, you're moving in the center. So you move your body, centered move. That doesn't mean your leg is stuck to the floor, but it does mean that your both feet are free. So
Can do nothing.
so the legs are actually free. You not only can use your arms, but you can use the leg as well. Good, thanks. Okay. Any other question?
Well, yeah, you said the first sort of stage in the process of learning to do what you've been demonstrating is to feel your bones, learn to feel your bones. How do you do that? How do you learn to feel your bones?
Well, the men can feel it. Are you saying women can't feel it?
I can't feel them inside, really. No.
Yeah, I deliberately asked the question because so far you notice I've only asked the men to come forward. Try. Let's call women forward. It's important in this day of equality that we treat the women equal. So the reason I call them forward is because there is a perception that women are weaker than men. Yeah, physically, yes. Feel the bones. Take out a slide. She can do it.
Yeah.
How much did I pay her? No, I can't afford to pay her because
she's alive.
yes, you can't afford to pay her. Yeah, thanks, Emma. That goes to show that we're all equal. It takes patience, like everything else. It's no magic solution. You can't learn it overnight. Initially, as Emma would tell you, it's very difficult. It took ages, hour after work, to try and zoom down so that it centered your body, relax your spine. It's hour and hour of work. And then gradually, you begin to do it.
But I've been able to do what Emma's just demonstrated, but I wouldn't say I can feel my bones. I don't know. I don't know what I'm supposed to feel when I feel my bones.
You do what you do, okay? I'll do what I do with her that I did with Amma. Ready? So obviously you can't do the same thing.
No.
You're not feeling the bones.
not
Yeah.
allowed to do it.
Okay. Just release to your fingertip, open also. That's it. Just curve a bit. Yeah. Round off your elbow. No, don't tense. Yeah, that's it. Relax from the fingertip down into. That's it. Into. No, not drooping. Just relax. Down into here, into here, into here, into here, into here, into here, into the spine. Connect the spine both sides. You can do it. Why could she do it a second time? Because in her mind she couldn't do it. Because I sent a signal through her bones so that she can feel her bones. Because we are all humans, we share the same nervous system design. So if you can learn to transmit that information, someone else can read it if you know how to send the signal. So that is another aspect of Qi. So Qi is not just power thing. Qi is what influences the fascial system as well. Do you want to try? I don't know what training you have, by the way, okay? So basically, first of all, I'm going to let you do it like normally, and I'm going to try and tear you apart. Okay, ready?
Okay.
So straight away, you see, you're struggling there. See that? Okay. Just feel the tip of your fingers. Yeah, right to the tip. Open up. That's it. Okay, the other side. So that's it. Relax the spine. Okay, now relax up from here, all the way down here, all the way here, all the way here, down here, into here, through there, into there, into here, into your rib cage, and then into the back there, between your shoulder blades. Okay. So when I try and put a little bit of force in, that's it. Relax a bit more. So it can be set up. Thank you. Anybody else want to try that? Just to feel what it feels like when you're well connected into your fascial system. So again, I don't know what your training background is.
A couple of years.
Okay, so feel the bones at the fingertip, all 5 digits. Yeah. No.
Yeah.
That's it. Okay, so like reach, almost like reaching out. That's it. Can you feel the connection there? Then down your fingers, through the palm of your hand, through the wrist where I'm gripping you, into the forearm, upper arm, shoulder, the clavicle, at the back, the scapula, into your ribcage, into your spine. Relax the spine. So that when I put force there, you feel the spine. Not quite. You're actually quite relaxed, so you've done some training before. Much more relaxed than the other. So if you've done training before, it's tremendous help. Thank you. So his quality was different from you and the others because he obviously done some training before. If not exactly the same as what I did with him, he did it himself in his own way. So he felt very relaxed, nothing in his arm at all. Whereas I felt something in some of the arms there. So the moral from that story, you don't need to be perfect. And this is the problem with training internal martial art. It takes a lot of time. If you train muscle, I used to do some coaching, sports coaching. The average time to work your muscles and for the muscle to improve is around about 2 weeks with muscle. Within 2 weeks of training, physical training, you'll see an improvement. The muscle will rebuild itself. With the fascia, first of all, you cannot overdo it. You cannot stretch it, because if you stretch it, it will tear. So you lose the tensile force ability. You don't put enough force in it, it doesn't smooth out. You need it to be smoothed out. So you need to do it gradually, gently. You're talking about weeks, months, even years, depending on individual. There are some people who are naturally gifted, because the fascia is in anybody. You use it actually naturally. It's just that you're not consciously aware of it. It is a supporting element rather than the predominant element. This training makes it the dominant element in your movement. So your muscle becomes the supporting role, the fascia take on the major role. And because the fascia connects to your whole body, and eventually if you train enough, then the fascia will improve so that in certain areas in particular, can I borrow you again, Lucas, if you don't mind? I'm borrowing Lucas again because he's done some grappling training, and he's very good here. I can feel, oh, he's got a six-pack here. I haven't got a six-pack. So he's very well trained here. Yeah. But it's a muscular training. My training is fascia training. Right? That's what I believe. Just to console myself. Nowhere near the beauty and glory of Lucas here. So already I can feel him. His core muscles are all now getting ready for me because he's determined to stop me. Yeah. So So his core is now very ready for me. So if I use my core, my pitiful core against him, but when I tap into the fascia here, and because I've done a bit of relaxation training here, all I do now is just relax this bit here. So that worked a little bit. Oh, yeah. The reason it works on him is not because I'm stronger than him. I'm not. He's a lot stronger than me. The reason it works is because his nervous system can't figure out what I'm doing. Okay? You can see him trying very hard to stop me, but he cannot organize his very superior musculature against me because I can feel all the power in it. Oh, yeah, muscle here, all the power. And he's used to using them. If he managed to get me on the floor, I'm in trouble because I'm not used to it, and he is. But standing upright, I got a much better chance against him. Because if I tense up my muscle against him, that's it, you see. He can figure me out straight away. He's moving me now already. So the opposite is happening now because he's so well organized muscularly. That's it, yeah. So I'm going to distort his fascia without using too much of my fascia. What I'm going to do is now distort his fascia so that he can't organize so well now. Thank you, Lucas. Thank you. I thought you didn't want to know. Okay.
What's the correlation between the center and the fascia? How do you...
The what?
Are they separate?
The center.
The center and the fascia, are these two separate things? Or do they combine themselves? How do they do?
The center is part of the fascia. Without that connection, the fascial connection, it won't work. Do you want to feel it?
I'm going to get... You're just going to push me around.
No, I'm not. No, I'm not. Yeah. Before we go any further, I know this guy quite well. He started training in Wing Chun well before me. So he's far more experienced than I am in terms of skill set. He's very humble. Now, what he will not tell you is that he's also... I knew him when he first started training in BJJ. That was many years ago. I think he's a black belt in BJJ now. Okay, so let's see.
I'm a liar.
So what your question was that is the center separate from the
Yeah.
fascia? So I'm now making my center the tailbone.
Okay, so you moved it from where?
I'm not moving. It's always there. My tailbone is always there.
All right. Okay.
Yeah.
So you.
I'm not a Martian. You see?
Okay.
Yeah. So I'm just making the tailbone my center.
Okay.
Okay. Now you recognize that the tailbone is also connected to the fascia.
That's the bit I couldn't understand.
The fascia is everywhere, attached to every bone.
Yeah, it's everywhere.
Yeah. So if I make the center
So
part
if
of the
your
tail,
focus is on your tailbone,
yeah,
then that connects to that point. The fascia is connected to that point.
yeah, it's always connected to the point. But I'm just paying more attention to it now.
Attention to it,
Yeah.
Okay, I
So
got it.
that's a better way to describe it.
Okay.
So if I don't concentrate on that tailbone, that means I'm not aware of where my center is,
Okay.
and you use your super duper BJJ against me.
So I'll just push you. You know?
Okay, that's it.
Yeah.
Oh, very good. Yeah. You've improved over the years.
No. I can't go.
So now I'm in trouble because my neural system is not centered. That's the way they describe it, not centered. So if he no, he's very good. Yeah, he's very good. Yeah, very good, very good. He got me straight away. Okay. Okay, so now I'm going to pay attention. But my version of paying attention is I put the yi, that information, communication thingy. Okay, so now I put the yi in my tailbone.
No, don't do that. No, he paid me before.
Yeah.
That's good.
So you notice the difference straight away because I haven't actually started doing anything. All I did was to calm everything down, become still again, and then put my attention into the tailbone or the yi there, and it affected him straight away. So that's the organization bit.
Right, got it.
Okay?
Understand? No?
Thanks, Amjit. Pay you later. Any other question?
You said about the non-Newtonian fluid.
Yeah.
Is that proven? I don't know.
Proven.
Yeah, in the body. I've never heard
You're insulting the scientific community.
of it. I am.
It's not my idea at all. I borrow it from the science people. Yeah, I borrow it so that I can explain this stuff. Because Sikong didn't explain this to me. you see.
I've never heard of non-Newtonian fluid inside of
What I try to do is that for some years now, I try to see whether what Sikong taught me is real. Because it seems so magical. Yeah. You touch him and you're all over the place. So is there science behind that? And I reckon this is the science behind it. But that's my personal view.
Okay.
Don't take my word for it. I borrowed this scientific thing by Google. And then I tested it out over many years now. It didn't work initially, actually. It took a lot of tries. I keep telling people 90% of what I tried failed. What you see today is the 10% that worked. And I'm still not finished yet. Chu Shong Tin is there, I'm about here.
So like,
I'm trying my best to, gradually figure out more and more of what he was able to do naturally.
okay.
Because the problem is that he was so gifted, the rest of us mortals cannot follow in his footsteps. We need something more tangible to grab onto. And I say was Western, it might be a bit racist, but actually I'm also a Western in the sense I'm Western educated. I'm not Chinese educated, you see. I was born over there, but most of my education is in this country. So, and I was an engineer by profession before I retired. So my mindset is actually geared towards scientific demands, the rigors of a scientific mind. When I see a problem, I need to find out how it worked. So I used to spend my youth tearing things apart so to figure out how it worked. And I've done the same thing throughout my adult life because my part of it is how to repair, maintain very sophisticated pieces of equipment. So you need to understand the science behind how the equipment works in order to be able to fix it. And when I started teaching, one of the feedback I got constantly from people was that, especially from what I call Westerners, Western educated people, I got to understand this exactly how it works before I can learn it. To me, that's like a mental block already, you see. Because I didn't understand this when I learned it. All I did was the sentence Qigong adjusted me. And I said, that is Taigong, or that is Sing, or that is whatever it is. And that's how I learned it. I didn't understand it at the time. I'm not sure I understand it now, by the way. But I think I'm nearer. At least I got some science behind it. I can teach that now. Because if you teach somebody, I said, teach your muscle. First of all, it's in Cantonese. Unless you speak Cantonese, you don't even know what. And then secondly, the actual word doesn't describe what actually happens in your body. Fong Song, simple, isn't it? Qigong used to have a bird in his house that you enter. The first thing you met is Fong Song, Fong Song. Tell you to do that. Everybody remembered. So we spent hours listening to this damn bird saying, Fong Song, Fong Song. Yeah, I'm trying my best, bird. The bird became the teacher because it stand there for 16 years, you see. So it's very good at standing practice. Any other question? If I run out of time now? Yeah, okay, sorry about that. If there's no other question, thanks very much for your attention. I hope it makes sense.